Most people picture a stroke as something that hits in the middle of a bad day, a shock, a collapse at the dinner table, bad news that arrives out of nowhere. That is almost never how it happens. Strokes have a favorite time of day, and it is the quiet, ordinary hour right after you open your eyes. More strokes happen in the first few hours of the morning than at any other point in the 24-hour clock. And the reason has nothing to do with luck. Your own body stacks the deck against you at dawn, and then most people, without knowing it, pile 3 or 4 everyday habits right on top. I'm Dr. John Myers, an internal medicine specialist, and in more than 20 years of practice, I have seen this pattern more times than I can count. The stroke did not come out of the blue. It was built quietly over years of mornings that all looked harmless. So today I am going to show you exactly why the early morning is the single most dangerous window for a stroke after 60. Then walk you through the specific morning habits I see in my older patients that quietly raise the risk even higher. Some of them will sound like plain common sense you have done every day for decades. And I will tell you now, the last one is the one almost nobody takes seriously, and it may be the most dangerous of all. But first, before any of that, I am going to give you the very first warning sign of a morning stroke, the one that gets brushed off as nothing so you can catch it in yourself or in someone you love while there is still time to act. And look, your blood pressure, your circulation, the way your body handles the morning after 60, this is exactly the kind of thing my patients ask me about every single day. I took everything I tell my own patients and put it into one simple plan for living longer, stronger, and healthier after 60. 28 of the things that actually change as you get older. Your blood pressure, your blood sugar, your memory, your balance, and those are only some of them. Thousands of people are already using it to take back their health. It's already helped so many of them live their best life after 60. The link is on your screen right now, so go check it out at darmyers.com, and I'll drop that same link down in the description below so it's right there whenever you're ready. All right, let's start with why the morning is so dangerous in the first place. This is the one idea I want you to hold in your head for the whole video, because once you understand it, every habit we talk about makes instant sense. A stroke, the common kind, happens when a clot blocks blood flow to part of the brain. And for that clot to form and do its damage, 3 things have to line up at the same time. Your blood has to be thick enough to clot easily. Your pressure has to spike hard enough to strain the vessels or knock a clot loose. And your blood has to sit still long enough in one place for trouble to gather. Thick blood, a pressure spike, still flow. That is the whole recipe. Now here is why the early morning is so dangerous. Your body lines up 2 of those 3 for you automatically before you have done anything at all. Overnight, you go 6, 7, 8 hours without a sip of water while you keep breathing out moisture the whole time. So by dawn, your blood is more concentrated, a little thicker than at any other point in the day. That is the first ingredient handed to you for free. Then right around the time you wake, your body releases a surge of cortisol, your main stress hormone, to get you up and moving, and cortisol pulls your blood pressure up with it. Doctors call that early climb the morning surge. That is the second ingredient. So you open your eyes already carrying thicker blood and rising pressure, 2 of the 3. I call this stretch the dawn window, and it runs roughly from the time you wake until mid-morning. A review published in the journal Stroke, pooling more than 30 separate studies, found that strokes are close to half again as likely in those morning hours than you would expect by chance. Half again is likely. Same person, same body, just a more dangerous time of day. You cannot change the cortisol. That is biology. But the third ingredient, the still flow and the habits that thicken the blood and spike the pressure even further, those are almost entirely in your hands. That is what the rest of this video is about. Before the habits, the warning sign. Because if you only remember one thing from today, I want it to be this one. The very first sign, the one that comes earliest and gets ignored the most, is far quieter than the dramatic collapse everyone pictures. It is a small loss of coordination. You reach for your toothbrush and your hand does not land quite where you meant it to. You lift your coffee and it dribbles a little at the corner of your mouth. You go to button a shirt and your fingers just feel clumsy, a half second behind where your mind put them. It does not hurt, and there is nothing dramatic about it, which is exactly why it is so easy to talk yourself out of. People blame it on being tired or on arthritis or on not being properly awake yet, and so it gets waved away. But every smooth movement your body makes is run by your brain. And when a movement suddenly feels clumsy for no reason, that can be your brain telling you the blood flow to it just flickered. I remember a man who came to see me years ago, and not because he felt sick. His wife had sent him in. She had noticed him fumbling his buttons in the mornings and dropping his keys. And a few days earlier, he had tried to write a grocery list and for a moment could not remember how to spell a simple word. No headache, no slurred speech, nothing you would call an emergency. But something was wrong. And to his credit, he came in instead of shrugging it off. It turned out he had had a mini stroke. What doctors call a transient ischemic attack, a brief blockage that clears on its own, a warning shot. And that is what a min stroke is. A stroke that undoes itself before it does permanent damage and hands you a short window to act. The days right after one are the highest risk period for a full stroke, which is why one of these episodes is never something to sleep on. Get seen quickly. That window is where the outcome is decided. So the quiet version, the clumsy hand, the dribble, the off feeling, that means get checked. The loud version has a name worth memorizing, and it spells the word fast. F is for face. Is one side drooping? A is for arms. Does one drift down when you raise both? S is for speech. Is it slurred or strange? T is for time, and time means call 911 right this second. Do not wait to see if it passes. Every minute a stroke goes untreated. Brain is being lost. That one word fast could save someone's life this year. All right, now the habits, because the whole point is to never get near that window in the first place. The first morning habit, and it is the most common one I see, is reaching for coffee before you have had any water. Think about what we just said. You wake up with the thickest blood you will have all day because you have gone all night without fluid. Your body is already asking to be watered, and most of the world walks straight past the water and goes to make coffee. Now, coffee is not the villain, and I am not going to tell people over 60 to give up their morning cup. But coffee is a mild diuretic, which means it gently tells your kidneys to pull more water out of you. So on the one morning, your blood is already at its thickest. The first thing in your hand pulls a little more water out and nudges your pressure up. Right when your body is already surging it, you are feeding 2 of the 3 ingredients before breakfast. The fix costs nothing and takes 10 seconds. Before the coffee, before the pills, before you pick up the phone, drink 1 full glass of water, room temperature or a little warm, not ice cold. You are thinning that morning blood back toward normal and taking the edge off the whole dangerous window. Keep the glass on the nightstand so it is the first thing you see. Water first, then the coffee you love in that order. That single switch quietly pulls one of the 3 ingredients right back off the table. The second habit is about how you get out of bed, and I mean the literal physical act of it. A lot of people, the moment the alarm goes, sit bolt upright and stand straight up. After 60, that fast change of position is a bigger deal than it sounds. Going from lying flat to standing in one motion forces your blood pressure to correct hard and fast to keep blood reaching your brain against gravity. In younger bodies, that is instant. Older vessels are stiffer and slower, so for a few seconds, the pressure can swing, and swinging pressure in the dawn window is exactly what we are trying to avoid. It is also how a lot of falls happen. That gray, dizzy moment at the edge of the bed. There is a second version of this that worries me even more, and it happens in the bathroom. Straining, bearing down hard on the toilet first thing in the morning, which is common, spikes your blood pressure sharply for those few seconds of effort. I have seen strokes happen in that exact moment, going from lying still to straining hard with no transition in between. So slow the whole thing down before you even sit up. While you are still lying there, pump your ankles a few times and flex your toes to get the blood moving upward. Sit on the edge of the bed for a slow count before you stand. Roll your shoulders, let your body catch up, and do not hold your breath and strain in the bathroom. If things are slow in the morning, that is usually the water and the fiber talking, and we fix it upstream, not by bearing down. 2 quiet minutes of easing into the day takes the sharp edges off the biggest pressure swings you will have. Quick pause and only for a second. If this is useful so far, do me one small favor and hit subscribe and leave a comment telling me your age. I read them, and honestly, the age of the people watching shapes which topics I cover next. That is it. Back to it. The third habit is taking your morning medications on a completely empty stomach with nothing to eat, sometimes for hours. This one catches a lot of good, disciplined people because plenty of my patients are proud of skipping breakfast. They are not hungry or they are fasting, and they have heard fasting is healthy. In a younger body with steady blood sugar, it can be. But after 60, your body holds blood sugar less steadily, and your brain runs almost entirely on that sugar and barely stores any. So when you take blood pressure or diabetes medicine on an empty stomach and then do not eat, you can drop your sugar or your pressure lower than the medicine intended right in the most fragile window of your day. That is when people get elated, foggy, unsteady. And unsteady after 60 is how you end up on the floor. I am not telling you to eat a big breakfast. I am telling you to give your body something small to stand on before the day starts pulling at it. Half a boiled egg, a spoon of yogurt, a few walnuts you soaked the night before. Just enough protein to keep your blood sugar level while the medicine does its job. And if you take a fistful of pills every morning, ask your own doctor which of them actually need food and which do not, because the answer is different for different drugs, and it matters more than most people realize. Something small in the tank. Then the medicine has something to work with instead of working against an empty body. The fourth habit is the one nobody thinks of as a health habit at all. It is reaching for the stress before your feet even hit the floor. You know the the hand that grabs the phone off the nightstand and opens the news before the eyes are fully focused. The email that gets read at the breakfast table. The argument about the day's schedule before anybody has had a glass of water. We treat all of that as normal. But remember where your body already is at that hour. Cortisol high, pressure surging, vessels tight, and now on top of a body that is already at its most stressed all on its own, you handed a jolt of worry or anger or bad news. The large international inner stroke study, which examined thousands of stroke patients across dozens of countries, found that psychological stress sat among the small handful of factors that together explain the large majority of stroke risk worldwide. Stress is a real physical push on your pressure. In a body that is already primed at dawn, it is one more shove at the worst possible time. So build a buffer, not a lecture about meditation, just 10 quiet minutes at the start of the day that belong to your body before they belong to the world. Drink your water, sit with your coffee, and look out a window. Stretch. Let the surge settle before you pour worry on top of it. The phone and the news will still be there in 10 minutes. Let the most dangerous stretch of your day pass by calmly instead of lighting a fire in the middle of it. And now the last one, the one I told you almost nobody takes seriously, and the one that ties this whole video together. Stillness. Physical stillness in the first hour or two after you wake. Here's the picture. You get up, you pour the coffee, you settle into the chair with the paper or the phone, and there you stay. An hour, sometimes 2. It feels like the most harmless thing in the world. It even feels healthy, easing gently into the day. After retirement especially, it becomes the whole shape of the morning. But go back to the recipe. Thick blood, a pressure spike, and still flow. We have handled the first 2. This habit is the third one, sitting right out in the open. When you stay still, your blood, already at its thickest for the day, slows down and begins to pull, especially in your legs. Your veins have no pump of their own. The only thing that pushes blood back up out of your legs and keeps it circulating is your muscles squeezing as you move. Sit motionless, and that pump switches off, and still thick blood is exactly the condition a clot needs to form. We have known this in hospitals for decades. It is why they get patients up and walking so fast after surgery, because lying still lets clots form in the legs, and a clot in a still leg can travel. Your living room is not a hospital, but after 60 in the dawn window, your body cannot always tell the difference. And this is the part that surprised even me when I first understood it. The American Heart Association now treats long hours of sitting as its own independent risk for stroke and heart disease. And the striking thing is that it stays partly true even in people who go to the gym later in the day. Exercise in the afternoon helps, but it does not fully cancel out a morning spent sitting still. What matters just as much is not letting your blood pool in the first place. And the single most important time to keep it moving is the morning, the exact window we have been talking about this entire video. So here is the most protective thing I can hand you, and it is completely free. In the first hour after you wake, move just gentle movement, nothing strenuous. March in place by the counter while the coffee brews. Roll your shoulders, reach your arms overhead, walk to the end of the driveway and back. 5 to 10 minutes of easy motion switches the leg pump back on, keeps the blood flowing instead of pooling, and takes that third ingredient off the table. Move the blood and you thrive. Let it sit and you are quietly running the risk up. Of every single thing in this video, if you do only one, do this. And that this whole idea of small morning moves protecting your brain is exactly one piece of the bigger plan I built in it. This is one topic out of 28 sitting right alongside your blood pressure, your balance, your sleep, all the things that actually change after 60. If today made sense to you, the link is down in the description and I pinned it right at the top of the comments too. So it is easy to find whenever you're ready. No rush. It is there when you want it. So let me put the whole morning back together for you in order. So it is simple enough to actually do tomorrow. The moment you wake, before anything, drink 1 full glass of water to thin the morning blood, get up slowly, pump your ankles while you are still lying down, sit on the edge of the bed for a count, and never bear down and strain in the bathroom. Put something small in your stomach, a bite of protein before or with your morning pills. Give yourself 10 quiet minutes before you touch the phone or the news. And most important of all, in that first hour, move, march, stretch, walk to the mailbox. Anything that keeps the blood from pooling. Look at what those 5 changes do. Thick blood thinned by the water. Pressure spikes softened by getting up slow and staying calm. Still flow broken up by moving early. Every one of the 3 ingredients a stroke needs pulled apart before you have even finished your coffee. None of it costs $1. None of it needs a prescription. It is time and attention and knowing what your body is doing at dawn while you are still half asleep. That is the real message here. A stroke after 60 rarely arrives out of nowhere. It is built out of ordinary mornings, and the same mornings that quietly build it are exactly where you have the most power to take it apart. If this helped you see your own morning a little differently, subscribe so the next one finds you. Give it a like so it reaches more people our age. And leave a comment if there is a habit you are going to change tomorrow. I read them.